Hey, what's happening, everybody? My name is Haydn Adams with A Designer Who Codes. And especially when it comes to web design, images are really important. So I want to show you the best way of exporting out a low file size based JPEG from Photoshop. And of course, we have to use probably the world's worst shortcut in which to do that. And with that, let's get started. All right, welcome back. What is going on, ADWC Nation? Thank you so much for watching the video. If you are brand new and you are looking to improve your web design and development skills through code and good Photoshop techniques like this video shows, then hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. So I've got a really big picture here of the beach, literally a picture I took, and a Photoshop layered text area, so I can always move it around. Now, whenever I work online, I always want to make sure I keep a copy of my original picture at full resolution, because I can always come back to it if I mess it up. It's always a backup file. This picture is big. It's 2500 by 1667 pixels. I don't need a picture this big, but I need a JPEG in which to work off of. Now, the traditional way most people export JPEGs is going into File and Save As. And in the Save As area, I can choose from Photoshop to JPEG. Now note what it does. It basically says, hey, file must be saved as a copy with this selection. That's because we're trying to save a JPEG with all of these layers. What I really have to do is come over here, flatten image, do a Save As or Command-Shift-S on the Macintosh, and now my JPEG can be saved without any warning messages. That's great. However, I'm now saving a copy that I want to work on. So if I save this beach JPEG and I say save, well, let me move the JPEG area up here. Now its quality is 12. I can increase or decrease this, however big I want to make it. And now I'm no longer working on my Photoshop file. This beach.jpg area has now changed from beach.psd. So unfortunately, I'm now working on a copy. What I really want to do is I just want to export the JPEG, but keep working on the Photoshop file. So that way was technically almost the easiest way, but I compressed the picture in terms of flattening it, and then my file on the screen was back to a JPEG. So I've reverted my file. I'm back to a beach.psd file. And the better way, and I'm arguably going to say the best way, is going to File, Export, and then Export As. You can also use Save for Web. I've used this a lot of times, which is Command-Option-Shift-S. This was the worst shortcut key, but at least the Command-Option-Shift keys are closer to the S than the W key. So this is the new way of exporting JPEGs out of Photoshop. So you can always come up to File, Export, and on the Macintosh, it is a 4 keystroke shortcut, which is why I call it the worst shortcut known to man. It requires almost practice because you really have to get your thumb on both, at least on the Macintosh, the Command and the Option keys, using a finger for the Shift key and the W key. It almost takes practice. Let's see if I get this one on the first try. Awesome. But here's the great part about this export function. One, it's going to show you the preview, but two, I don't need this picture to be so big. So I might say, you know what, this picture should be 500 pixels. And it'll adjust accordingly, saying, okay, this picture should be 500 pixels, the height will be 333, scale at 20, and you're going to use the image size to just size it down. Note, I don't have to come up to image and use image size to do it. It's doing it within the export function of this picture. The greatest part also what I love about this functionality is it tells me the file size at which it's going to be. That to me is the most crucial part of this. We won't get into the scale part at all, but I'm primarily focused on image size, file size, and format. And I don't need it to be a PNG file because it's not a transparent heavy image or requires an 8-bit graphic. What I'm looking for is to change the PNG to a JPG. I always laugh because it says SVG, but invariably you cannot anyways, that's a different story. JPEG, what I'm looking for right here. Here's the great part. Now it gives me a percentage in which to control the quality. If you notice from the previous part when I said save as, well, that gave me a list of 1 to 12 for compression. And 1 to 12 doesn't make sense comparatively speaking to 1 versus 100%. And here's like to do it with my pictures. So I have the beach. I made it 500 pixels, but I say, okay, let's round this to 200. Easy math. I'm an art major. So I say, how small can I make this while also making the quality go down as well? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the shift key while clicking inside of this area of quality and hitting my down arrow. And the shift key allows me to go up and down by 10 percentage points. So if I say, okay, let's round this to 200, we're losing about 7K, but close enough there. The quality at 100% is 193. So if I drop this to 90%, I've dropped from 193 or 200 to 132. If I go down to 80%, this picture has already lost 50% of its data. And online data means big things. So I say, well, if I lost 20% of quality to get 50% less data, I'm doing a great job. And what I usually do is I just drop down and say, okay, quality 70%. And notice now I didn't lose a lot of information. We're at 80 versus 70. That's a 10% drop. And it went from 94 to 70. So to me, I'm going to set up as JPEG quality 80. And thereby I have a 94 kilobyte picture that I can then use to export this graphic. And I'll say beach 500 80%, just so I know what I'm working with. So now when I save this graphic, I'm back to my Photoshop file. That's, to me, now I can go back and move the word beach around and go, you know what, I need to update that picture. Let's head back in this area and notice how it saved my settings. So if I want to re-export that picture, I'm going to click on the one I want to change. Yes, I do want to replace it. And now I'm back and working. I can save my Photoshop file if that's the way I want to have it. So to me, what it does is it allows for a better flow of work. So this picture now, instead of just going to save as, that beach JPEG by default was 4.1 megabytes. The picture I did edit with about 2 minutes of work went down to 97 kilobytes. So it's arguably the best way of exporting JPEGs out of Photoshop. And just so you are watching this, I am in Photoshop version 21.2.1, which is essentially version 20. I'm in August of 2020 for this video. And it's the best way of exporting, but you almost need some practice to hit the world's worst shortcut and going to export as. And if you want to go legacy, you're welcome to in Command Option Shift S. But the best way of exporting JPEGs out of Photoshop is with the export as and the world's worst shortcut. Ready to continue becoming a better web designer through code? Check out more of my videos through my channel, A Designer Who Codes. Thanks so much for watching.